welcome to LOCKBEARD Phenomenon number 105. Giants and Bigfoot covered up by the CIA? Question mark. It is Saturday, September 9th, 2023. Starting a couple hours late because it's just too damn hot. Still, it's too hot, but whatever. Just not as hot as it was earlier. Let's see who's in the chat, shall we? Let me get this set up here. One of these days, all this stuff will work a lot better, a lot more smoother. Maybe. Boom. That's something anyway. It don't come over the StreamYard. It don't come over the StreamYard from Rumble. That sucks. Still can't get on YouTube. I don't know when I'll be able to get live stream to YouTube again. I got a new channel. Has no strikes. I'll try not to get strikes this time around, but I can't live stream because you have to verify the channel with a phone to live stream. They send a code, they text you a code, and then you enter the code, and then you can live stream. Well, I can't do that because my phone numbers have both been used the maximum number of times to verify YouTube channels within the last year. You get two per year per phone. Well, I've maxed out, so I have to wait until I don't know when. I don't know when I can use one of those phone numbers. And sometimes I think YouTube just messes with me because I've tried, using these services where it's a one-time use of a number and it don't work. It never works. They always have some reason why it don't work. So sometimes I wonder if YouTube's just messing with me anyway. Donald Fuller says first, but Uncle Bone says Donald don't count without thumbs up. Baha. Angela Nolan, Lady in the Woods, is here. Welcome to you all. Uncle Bone says 10 watching, 1 thumbs up. Come on, people. Donald says, LOCKBEARD, I need a email link or I'm stuck in this Facebook platform. That's terrible. Huh? Do I not have you? You're not on my email list, are you? Or no, I thought you. Yeah, you are. Oh, I know what happened. I didn't send the email. Here it comes, Donald. Here it comes. For some reason, I didn't hit send. It is coming. Thanks for reminding me. I don't know what the hell's up with Facebook. Like the link didn't show the thumbnail version on LOCKBEARD chat or LOCKBEARD live streams notification group there. Luckily, we didn't lose anybody over the chatting that happened. A couple people started talking in the LOCKBEARD live streams group chat, so I want to remind everyone we will love to have the conversations, but have them in the LOCKBEARD chat, not the LOCKBEARD live streams. Because when we start, because in the beginning, more than half the people left, and they left because mainly there's some reasons. There's reasons I can't even tell you, but but the main reason was that they left the original group chat that I made was because there's this constant dinging. Every time somebody sends anything, any message, any link, anything, it's a ding, 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 ding. And I understand. I'm constantly getting these Facebook dings, and uh, as an example, there's some people they'll say a few words and then in one message, and then another few words and another message, and another few words, another message. And they could have said it all in one message, but they use 6 or 7 different little messages because they're sitting here doing the voice to text and hitting send, just voice to text, hitting send, voice to text, hitting send, and just ding, 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 and so maybe try to put it all in one message, please. That's but so we can't, so what I did was, as a result of that, for some of you know, but some of you don't know what happened. As a result of that, all the messages coming through, people were leaving the group. Well, if people leave the group, then I can't do with it what I originally primarily made it for was, and I think Donald was the one that asked me to make it because he thought it would be a good idea to be able to notify everybody of the live stream coming up with a Facebook group chat. But so I made LOCKBEARD chat, right? And I figured, well, some chatting could occur and everything would be okay and it would work. Well, it didn't work. It didn't work because a lot of people they're not really interested in all the chatting and they don't want all the dinging going on. They could turn off the notifications. So follow all this, okay? They could turn off the notifications for LOCKBEARD chat, but then they won't be notified when I send the live stream link. So it completely defeats the purpose of having a group chat. So you see, it was it was a complete failure. There's no way it was going to work. So then I created a separate group chat, except I called that one LOCKBEARD live streams, and asked everyone, do not chat there, do not respond. We just want one message when there's a live stream, and that's it. And so far, I think only one person has left. I've kicked some out for reasons not to be worried about, but one person has left, and I think it's just been one. So that's why. So there's two groups. Some of you are not in the LOCKBEARD chat anymore because you were one of the people that left. If you want back in, let me know and I'll put you back in, because it's not very many people left in there. But do all the chatting in LOCKBEARD chat, and then LOCKBEARD live streams don't chat there. It's just for the live stream notification. So I should be the only one posting anything there. Chat's running away from me here. Okay, there we go. Everybody's saying hi, hello. Cabones, I can't do that. Facebook platform, it's way too bright. Cheap track phone. Donald says that's much better. That white background I get on my phone is torture. White background. So you're watching somehow through Facebook? So somehow you're able to watch Rumble through Facebook. Is that what's going on? I don't think I'm understanding exactly what's going on with you. And hopefully, because you see what Rumble looks like to me, right? I'm in dark mode. Like for some of you, if you haven't discovered dark mode, I wish it was pitch black. I don't like that it's just gray, but what Rumble, you need to fix that. This is not proper dark mode. It needs to be pitch black. But at least it's dark and it's not bright white. Yeah, the white's killer. The white's killer. Let's see. White light burns your eyes. Cindy Finn's here. Welcome. You can't hear me loud and clear. Did you have your volume down? Donald says, yeah, when Brent started chatting on it, I didn't realize he was on the live stream group. Yeah. Yeah. There's Lockbeard live streams, and then there's Lockbeard chat. So as long as everybody remembers to do their chatting in Lockbeard chat, it ought to go all right. Some people I saw like, because I went ahead and added 2 of the people that were chatting on the wrong one as well back into Lockbeard chat. So maybe they stay, maybe they don't. I don't know. It's up to them. But I mean, there you go. So. Cindy says, yes, I'm on dark mode. Oops. Well, that ain't no oops. That's a good thing. I'm pretty sure it saves you power, don't it? Saves you power because you're spending less energy on all the light. Donald says, I'm not sure what's going on, but when I click on the Facebook link, it's bright white. Oh, crap. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Volume was down. Late getting notification. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why you're on my email list, aren't you? I thought I had you on my email list. Let me see here. That is not what I wanted you to do to the computer. Yeah. And I was late sending it by email, if that's what you're talking about. I forgot to hit send. I forgot to hit send on the emails. What happened there, Cindy? Donald reminded me because he needed the link. And anyone else out there who wants to be on the email list so I can email you the link directly to the live stream, just let me know. Send me an email at Achaeos6@yahoo.com. And it's in the description of the videos, the email list. And do not use the Proton email anymore. Those of you that have been using that in the past, it doesn't work. They shut down the account. They said somebody reported me for something, and they would not tell me what it was, and they wouldn't give me a chance to fix anything. Nobody would communicate with me. I don't know what that's about, but what it does tell me is Proton Mail is completely useless. Yahoo has been very good for, there's just been no kind of problem like that because it's dumb. Don't be canceling people's email address. That's stupid. It screws up everything. So, yeah. You got it. It's okay. Caps locked. Yeah. Well, let's see here. So I ran across this y'all have heard of Donald says, I see the followers are growing, Lockbeard. Yeah, yeah, good thing. Glad to see that. Thank you all for watching. I don't know what we got watching. We got 16 watching right now. Good deal. Let me, where's that? So, make sure y'all can see this very good. I don't know. I have to go to a different layout here. This is on Thinker Thunker's channel, and I know a lot of you are not going to be don't want to be listening to too much of him talking, but we'll look at the video and well, I mean, this one here isn't on his channel. This is just the video and someone else's. But where I first saw it was when I got it. YouTube showed it to me on Thinker Thunker's channel, where he does his, does what Thinker Thunker does, and he has this little deal where he measures out arm lengths and body lengths, and on these fuzzy photographs and videos, and he comes up with this comparison to where he decides whether or not what we're looking at is a real Bigfoot or someone in a suit. Oops, I got turned around there. It wasn't this video. It's another one we're going to look at. Anyway, this one, this is a different one. This isn't the cliff jumper one. Sorry, I'm just tired. Cindy says, I don't follow him and don't watch the BS. Yeah. More fooey. Yeah. Okay. I made a mistake. This isn't the video. But we'll look at the other video. I mean, it could be real. I don't know. But, if it's real, then cool. But to me, it's inconclusive. Although Thinker Thunker does make one good point. If there's somebody jumping around and playing around on them cliffs in a big gorilla suit, they're a moron. So, let's look at this video here, though. This is Know Your Meme channel. It says, man goes viral after posting video of alleged giant in Canada. And the thing is, well, let's just watch it and we'll talk about it after.
Is rumored to have passed away after posting a strange video of an alleged giant on a mountain in Canada, sparking rumors that the CIA got to him to cover up the story. In April 2022, Canadian TikToker Andrew Dawson posted a video of a strange tall shape on top of a mountain in Vancouver. The details are shaky, but Dawson insists to the skeptical driver that it's a giant man.
There's a person standing there.
No, it's not.
Dude, have you seen what I've seen right now?
The video gained millions of views and set Dawson on a giant hunt that would last weeks. He went back to the mountain multiple times, but the giant was never seen again, only making him more determined to spot it. Things got weird when Dawson was pulled over by who he claims was the CIA.
I just got stopped by like some CIA agent. He told me to turn around and said I'm trespassing. I said it's a public area.
He posted several videos showing the alleged CIA blocking access to the mountain. In one video, helicopters are seen flying around the mountain as if searching for something. In another, strange lights are seen in the sky that he suggests could be a UFO, writing, "Did the thing on the mountain go home?" Before long, the agents allegedly started to stalk Dawson. He posted a video of a black car parked outside his home. When he goes out to confront the driver speeds away. In early May, Dawson posted a strange video in which he confesses that the giant sighting was fake.
Sorry to disappoint you guys, but all of the videos that I posted were scripted. They're just fake. They were just strictly for entertainment.
Throughout the video, his eyes dart off camera as if being instructed by someone. 10 days later, he backpedaled on the claim in a distressing video, saying,
"You might not see me post ever again. My videos weren't fake."
Dawson posted his final video on May 17th, showing footage of the same mountain. now with a huge new building on top of it. No one has seen him online since. Rumors have circulated online that Dawson passed away in July, with numerous videos showing what they claim to be evidence, including an obituary. His girlfriend has posted several videos mourning his passing as well, but has never spoken on the giant. Others are spreading rumors that the CIA got to him to hide the truth about the giant on the mountain, sparking one of the biggest TikTok conspiracy theories of 2022. Many are skeptical of the giant videos and the death altogether, assuming the whole thing is a setup for views. TikTokers have been revisiting the mountain since the story blew up to look for the giant themselves. None have been successful, although one person did capture the mysterious building in better detail. Some TikTokers have suggested that the building is nothing more than a radio tower, while others think it's a government research facility. Some TikTokers believe the creature is a Nephilim, a giant discussed in the Hebrew Bible that some interpret as the sons of fallen angels. In 1577, researchers even believed they found the fossil of a Nephilim who was washed away in the Great Flood, although it was later discovered that this was a mammoth fossil. Could Dawson have really spotted a giant on the mountain? Unfortunately, we may never know for sure. Memes.
So is that real? Let's see what the chat has to say. Donald says that thing would be 100 foot. Cindy Finn says, okay, Lockbeard, get it together, LOL. Bigfoot and UFO all in one. Isn't the CIA not allowed to do black ops on U.S. soil? Yeah, but we all know that they do. I mean, they assassinated a U.S. president on U.S. soil. I really don't think anyone would doubt that at this point. And yeah. So there's no way for us to really know for sure what's going on there. If I knew, it'd be nice. Again, this is a time when having the funding to go to places and check shit out would be nice, because I want to know what that building is. I don't even know where the location is. So if someone makes a claim, says boom, 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 I can look at maybe see when this building was built, find out what this building is, maybe check out the mountain. If it's a place that can be camped and investigated, that would be cool. But there's no way to do any of that without me knowing what it is and having the funding to do that kind of stuff. So all we can do really is speculate. Donald says, I can't remember who called him out for this, but it was Fooey. He's playing a role kind of like some others do, like Bigfoot Recon Man, who shot a dog man 400 times. Lady in the Woods says, sounds like TikTok drama. Bone says, Cindy, it was in Canada. Yeah, somewhere in Canada. Of course, now, I'd be afraid to travel to Canada. It's turned into a freaking communist hellhole. And now they're trying to start all the stuff back up. It's just not safe for some of us to go there, or maybe anyone to go there, really. So now, I guess, one, we don't really know what was on the mountain. Was it a Bigfoot? Was it a giant? Are giants even a real thing? I don't know. I don't know that they are. I think there's a possibility that some kind of larger type of human is out there, but would need more evidence of that. There's enough people who've seen Bigfoot that I think we can be reasonably certain that they're really there, that they really exist. Or if your Donald did exist, because he thinks they're extinct. But at any rate, you know, I just don't see any reason why it's implausible for them to be real, and to still exist. Some people find it hard to believe that they could be out there, that they're undiscovered, and I don't really think that's hard to believe at all. But I think because we're dealing with a couple of issues. One, like, because I know some people out there say, "Oh, the government's got their head so far up their ass they don't know that Bigfoot's out there." I don't believe that. The Bigfoot, if Bigfoot's out there, the government knows, and is probably violating their human rights. Because, like I've said before, I think they are human. They're a race of humans. So yeah, they if they know they're out there, they're covering it up, right? Because they're not telling us. And if they're not telling us, now we have to ask the question, why? Why aren't they telling us? Because I'm taking a jump, right? I'm assuming the government knows they exist. So for some people, that might be a hell of a jump. I don't think it's a hell of a jump. The government has technology to spot people from space. They have unlimited resources. They know Bigfoots are out there, right? If Bigfoot's out there. So people can get on board with me on that assumption that the government does know they are there. Because there's a few people out there that have said they think the government's too stupid to find Bigfoot. And I don't believe that. I think they know they're there. And if they know they're there, I think that based on the government's previous behavior with just us, violating our rights, just in every way you can think of, going all the way back to the early days of the nation, just flat out ordering exterminations of native tribes. These people are in power, most of them, because they are corrupt and willing to do anything to get power, and they thirst for power. That's how most people end up in a position of power. They thirst for power, they pursue power, they're willing to do anything to get power. Which means they're not a very moral person. They're a pretty bad person typically. And they're going to use that power for evil purposes, for bad things. And so if the government is made up of such people and the government knows Bigfoot's real, then you can be certain that the government has captured some Bigfoot people and are using them for who knows what kind of horrendous experimentation. So do I doubt that scenario like that TikToker posted could happen? I'm not saying it did happen, but could something like that situation happen? Sure, I think it could. I definitely think it could. So the entire, so just judging the plausibility of the entire story, I think the entire story is plausible. I don't know where the UFO fits in, but that's a whole nother bag of worms. Look, we know the government's admitting that UFOs are real, so Let me get back into the chat here. Uncle Bone says multi-purpose radio towers have a small shack at the base. So I wonder if the property was preparing to build. See, so what if this TikToker, let's say he wasn't actually joking at all and he actually believed everything he saw and everything he filmed was real. What if what he filmed up there was just a guy up there surveying the place to build the radio tower or the building? So it was just too far away to tell whether it was a man or anything, and maybe the perspective wasn't very good or whatever. And then that's all it is. And so that, and it's property that has been purchased for that purpose. So whereas it may have been public property before, maybe it's not anymore. And that's why they were telling him this is now private property. Maybe they failed to explain it to him well enough. But again, I don't know anything really about this situation. I don't know that any of it's real. One of y'all said this person was exposed as a hoaxer. So Donald says it shouldn't be hard to find his mountain in his other videos. I'm sure he is easy to find out his location spots. Cindy says, I'm open-minded, but we can't be satisfied till the Bigfoot are acknowledged. Lady in the Woods says they aren't covering up. They are ignoring the issue until they figure out how Bigfoot would be an advantage to them. Donald says, I figured out the Lodge Kill Zone Mountain by watching Kreider's other videos. I scoured that range looking for the 130-foot dam. Like structure claims the foot's built. Nothing there at all. Lady in the Wood says, if Bigfoot exists, of course. Yeah. Maybe the government, Cindy says, maybe the government plants these hoaxers to make people skeptical. Yeah, well, that's a whole another thing, right? We know the government plants misinformation agents to jack people around. So, you know, that they could have done that. Some of these people, it could be there just to make a mockery out of the whole thing. And that's how they help to keep a lot of people from believing. They just make it look as goofy as hell. So whenever I look at someone who is saying, who's telling a Bigfoot story that's just ridiculous, then you have to ask, you know, what's the chances that this person is a government agent, misinformation agent, trying to make a mockery of the Bigfoot subject? You know, I think there's a pretty good chance. It was a lot higher chance than a story such as Jay Fritz's story or Joe Satch Hominin X Inquiry channel, for those who don't know. His story, those stories, because look at what their stories are. Their stories are, they were just, these guys were in the woods, both of them, 2 different places, 2 different times. And they just run across a Bigfoot. And nothing crazy happened. Nothing ridiculously implausible happened. There was no telepathic communication, which is apparently too many syllables for your typical mind-speak encountering person, right? They don't know I don't know what else to think of it. Why are they using this word mind-speak? They're talking about telepathic communication. That's the proper words for it. But they call it mind speak. A nice little simple term, I guess. But these people, you know, these people are saying that they're hearing voices in their head. And so you got thousands of people out there that will listen to these stories and eat them up. They'll eat them up. They love these stories. They'll eat them up. These people, the ones that are telling the story of mind speak, a lot of them might be just fucking schizophrenic. They might just be schizophrenic. They're just crazy. And a few of them might be government agents. So when I hear stories like that with mind speak, hope, or cloaking, or portals, Bigfoot jump through portals, most of these are they're just too ridiculous. Again, prove that that portals are real. Forget Bigfoot, because if Bigfoot can use portals, that means this phenomena of portals all by itself must be a real thing, right? Okay, well, prove that portals exist. So if you're telling me a story about Bigfoot jumping through a portal, maybe if you start by proving to me that portals exist, maybe we'll get somewhere with your story. But right now, the most believable thing about your story is that you saw Bigfoot, and that's it. Forget the portal part. The portal part's what's making it more unbelievable to me. So I guess I'm, letting the cat out of the bag for the people who want to make up Bigfoot stories in the future. Do not include portals, mind speak, or cloaking. Stop with that crazy stuff that cannot and has not, and no evidence has been shown to prove it. And just say, hey, I saw Bigfoot. Okay, if you want to hoax a Bigfoot, just say you saw a damn Bigfoot. And don't try to make a fake body and stick it in the freezer and do all that shit. So, Old Saucy's new name here says, I exist. I'm right here. We're saying hellos. Cindy says scientists won't claim there is a Bigfoot until there's a body. Yeah. And I understand that. It's a lot to accept. For the footprints. The footprints should be, if they're, that's a hard one, because normally, if you can find footprints of an unknown, this says an unknown type of deer. There's you're finding tracks. Let's say you find in a certain area, you find these tracks that have the characteristics of the deer family, but these are not deer tracks from any of the known species. And you can tell, a very, very good expert can tell if the tracks are from an unknown species. And you find these tracks in different sizes and ages. Maybe you even find them in different slightly different shapes, indicating gender and so on and so forth. With that kind of information, you can pretty much say, hey, there is this species. We know it's here. We find these tracks. We just don't ever see it. Maybe it's extremely elusive. And eventually, if you can find tracks, you can find the creature. But as far as science is concerned, those tracks are good enough to accept that species is there. Except apparently for Bigfoot. But the problem is people be hoaxing Bigfoot tracks. People be hoaxing Bigfoot tracks. So You know, I don't know how we beat that. You know, you got Meldrum. Apparently, he's not good enough to present the tracks that he says appears to be real tracks, because you know you can tell whether they're fake or not, or you should be able to. But apparently he can't. He is not good enough to present the information to his colleagues and convince them. So this is worrisome, because either this means he's full of shit and all the tracks are fake and he knows damn good and well they're fake, and that's why he can't convince his colleagues, or the government's efforts to hide Bigfoot's existence are very, very extensive to where they got Meldrum's phone bugged, and every time he communicates with some other scientists about this issue, they show up at that scientist's door and threaten them. You're going to play along with Meldrum, but you're going to say you don't believe, or what? They'll tell them whatever they want to do, but as long as they don't help him back up the Bigfoot existence. And so that's really worrisome. You know why? Because you know if Bigfoot's real and the government is covering it up like that, and they're going to these kinds of extents to deny the existence of Bigfoot, you got to ask yourself, what is the government up to? What kind of evil shit are they up to that they are trying to cover this up so badly? You know, of course, you know, it's money and power. Everything's money and power for these guys, right? So this is why this gets me thinking they are using, one of the things is they're probably using Bigfoot people for experimentation, human experimentation. They have an entire race of people out there, because like I've said, I think they are Homo sapiens. They're the same species as us. They're just a big hairy race of people. So you have a big hairy race of people out there, but they're human. So you can do, if you deny their existence and you're able to hide them, then you can do whatever you want. Whatever kind of horrendous experimentation you want to do on these people, you can get away with it. So it's a horrifying thought that just the utter torturous suffering that these Bigfoot people may be undergoing while the government's able to hide them. You know, and it's a perfect situation for the government, right? Because it appears that the Bigfoot people want desperately to stay out of sight, and they're really good at it. You know, perhaps they've been doing this for so many thousands of years, it's just an instinct for them to be able to adapt and hide from us, and being a human, they're just as intelligent as us. It's just they haven't learned what we learned in school, but they got their own things that they know, and it's all primarily about avoiding us and anticipating what we're doing, identifying what kind of new weapon we've come up with, and everything. If it's something we made, it's best avoided, kind of thing. So that's getting back to the whole point, how are they able to stay out of sight? People find it hard to believe how they've been able to stay out of sight. Well, their natural ability, they're intelligent, intelligence, and on top of that, you got the government keeping them hidden for their own nefarious purposes. So under those circumstances, I don't think it's that hard for them to stay as out of sight as they have. Now, they clearly haven't been entirely out of sight because we're talking about it. We know they're there. A number of people have seen them. So even though 90% of the claimed sightings out there are probably bullshit, some of them seem to be real. They're telling a reasonable story, and it's not, of ridiculous proportions. We're hearing just something that has the morphology of a human. It's just hairy and a little bigger than us. 7-8 feet's very, very reasonable. I would even give you 10 feet. It's not that out of whack. If that particular race of people is bred to be able to be 10 feet, then they're going to have all the adaptations to be there. Some people are like, "Oh, that's too tall. Humans can't." Look, you're acting like no other animal on the planet's ever gotten that tall. I mean, look at a damn giraffe. I mean, that thing's big and lanky looking thing and tall as shit. And why is it able to be like that? Because it evolved to be like that. So don't assume Bigfoot can't be 10 foot tall. You start talking 15 feet and above. Now I'm starting to be like, well, we would have found some, because it would take time to evolve that size. You would see, hopefully there's a possibility we wouldn't see intermediaries, but the bigger your claims are, the more likely there would be some intermediary fossils. If you're saying Bigfoot's 15 feet tall, then there's so much chance that somebody found a fossil of one of its ancestors that was just 11 feet tall, halfway evolved from a normal human size that we've known from all of our ancestors, right? We know how big they were. They weren't that big. But 11 feet tall, where's the intermediary at, And so that's for 15 feet tall. And if your claim is that you see in a 20-foot tall Sasquatch, well, there would be much more likelihood that we would see an intermediary fossil, because it would take longer to evolve from the known lines of hominids, which were all much, much smaller. So it would take much more time to evolve that size, and the size of it alone would increase the likelihood of finding the fossils just because they're so damn big. So the bigger your tall tale is, the more unbelievable it is. I'll give people up to 10 feet, but beyond that, it starts getting ridiculously implausible. Donald says, the video I first saw, he was zoomed in from quite a distance. It would be way taller than Bigfoot, maybe the Jolly Green Giant. Uncle Bone says, Operation Mockingbird. Cindy says, hey, Donald, there is a Jolly Green Giant. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, why is he stealing, why is the Jolly Green Giant stealing Santa Claus's line? Donald says everyone needs to give Joe some thoughts and prayers. He's not doing good. Yeah, Joe's having some health issues, so hopefully he improves. Lookabone says, New York Joe? Yeah, New York Joe. Old Saucy says, do portals flush? I don't know. I don't know, because you might use one then. Am I locking up for you, Donald? Donald says, Meldrum says them Freeman tracks are real. I look at them and they look like a preschooler made them. It's your Wi-Fi. Cindy says, that's plausible. The government would use them, but personally, I don't want them found for the fact is they would be wiped out. See, I don't think that's what would happen. I think that they're more in danger being secret. Because people like us, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people out there that understand once the Bigfoot's proven to be real, there will be a bunch of people that will be saying, hey, well, shoot, there's these people out there in the woods and we keep destroying habitat. We need to preserve more natural habitat. I think it would cause the discovery of Bigfoot for the public would cause a resurgence of a environmental movement to preserve habitat. Now, I think the global warming people don't want that to happen because they want everyone focused on the global warming hoax and not focusing on other environmental issues. So, you know, and because we're wasting resources on global warming nonsense, we aren't focusing enough on these other issues that are real, like trains that derail and dump tons of chemicals out. Well, there's somebody dropped the ball and that shit happened. And talking to a railroad man, retired, he was telling me, it's like, and part of the deal is they're overloading them. There are too many cars, and they don't have the crews they used to have to take care, to watch everything, take care of everything. But it's just they're overloading it. There's too many train cars because they're trying to save more money, and it's becoming more and more dangerous. But yeah, I think it would be a good thing for them to be discovered. And because once they're discovered, if I'm correct, and they are Homo sapiens, they are humans, then it's going to be a racial matter. And as far as if we're destroying the traditional lands of an entire race of people, maybe we need to fucking stop, And so there's, of course, people brought up the logging industry and all this stuff. So yeah, there's just a whole bunch of issues that could be affected by the discovery of Bigfoot. But I think the end result would be good for Bigfoot because a ton of people would be out here helping us stand up for them, saying, look, we need to stop all further destruction of natural habitat. No more. And it's gonna suck because there's going to be a bunch of habitat destruction if China moves in on the United States, and it certainly looks like they're working up to doing that. I know a lot of people are finding that hard to believe, but I'm telling you, China's coming for at least a chunk of America, of the United States. So be ready for that. And I guarantee you they ain't going to give half a shit about Bigfoot. They'll wipe them out just as fast as they'll wipe the rest of us out. They don't care. They just want it for them. Donald says, I think they're being wiped out just from the crap we are doing to the environment. The Wuhan flu has been found in animals. Yeah, but it's not the Wuhan flu. Don't worry about the Wuhan. I'm telling you, the Wuhan flu is complete bunk. It's complete bunk. Was there a germ? It looks like there may have been an actual germ, but it was completely harmless, or mostly harmless. So I wouldn't worry about that. Everything surrounding that turned out to be bullshit. Everything. They lied and lied and lied, and people were starting to see through the lies, and then they had to try and censor people from exposing the lies. Even real scientists and doctors who were trying to blow the whistle on it, YouTube was silencing them, and other social media was silencing them. It was when we got straight up Nazi up in this bitch. In all the nations around the world, they just got straight up Nazi about it. That tells you that you got to think when you talk about that flu, that C-19. You got to remember, you can't believe anything you heard about it. You can't believe anything you heard about it because they've been caught in so many lies already. So don't give it any thought. I wouldn't give it any thought. It's such a big pile of lies that there's nothing to believe. The death rate isn't there. It's not there. The fudging of the numbers, the different methods of fudging the numbers has been exposed. You know, because they're reporting, oh, so many people. Yeah, but where did that number come from? And you find out there's all kinds of shenanigans afoot with that. So I wouldn't worry about that. And then now, what I would worry about is the freaking what they're injecting in people. I would worry about that. Cindy says there are people that were basically people with several mental disabilities that live in the woods. You're just talking about wild people. Donald says, yeah, but the giraffe isn't bipedal and most of its mass isn't up in its height. Yeah, but it's like, what is it, a 17, 18 foot animal? It doesn't matter though. An animal can get pretty tall being bipedal. Look at Tyrannosaurus Rex as an example. What was that bird? There was a more recent example. From the moa family. Hold on a second. I'll get it here in a second. A bipedal example of this is a bird in this case that got to 11 feet tall or so. They got an artist. Hold on a second. We'll use good old Wikipedia. Boom. There we go. A bipedal animal right there that got to 11 feet tall. So this is the South Island giant moa. It's extinct now, which is sad. It's too bad. I hope they find a way to bring them back. So, I mean, this could be some kind of example we could use, right, for what could potentially happen You know, what's potential for a human bipedal animal? Certainly an animal, a human version of this. Let's see here. Adult female stood up to 6'7". Where's the males at? £440 on average. Where's the description of the adult male? Behavior and ecology. Although they could reach 11 plus feet in height, they mostly held their necks horizontal. So there's an image of them. I mean, obviously they're going to be shaped a little different than a giant human would be, but because they evolved from a type of bird, so that's why they look like a big bird. But a big human's going to look like a big human, like a human, you know. So yeah. Those, you know, that and things like Tyrannosaurus would be examples of things that evolved to be much bigger. Cindy says the government has thrown many distractions at us. Yeah. Donald says I wanted to be a train engineer as a kid. Should have stayed with that idea. Cindy says China already owns land here and owns companies. Yeah, they own a lot of land. It's really telling that a lot of these Chinese billionaires, they're buying ranches at way above their normal price. And then you have the issue with like CCP police stations here in the United States. Why is CCP police in the United States? And then that biolab that got exposed in California, I think, a Chinese biolab. What the hell was that doing here? And then all the Chinese fighting age men that have been coming across the southern border. Thousands of them. What are they doing here? Because a lot of people, when they talk about people coming across the southern border, they think in their mind they're just picturing a bunch of Latino people, right? No. These people, there's people coming. Yeah, a lot of Latino, sure, but there's people coming from African nations, from the Middle East, from former Soviet states, and from China. Lots of Chinese fighting age men are coming across that border. What are they doing here? I think Joe Biden sold us out. Totally sold us out. He's sold America. And they're going to come here and they're going to take over. And then what are we going to do? Icon's here. Welcome. All the perks. Also, they own a lot here, and we got a goof telling the world we have no weapons. China is coming. Yeah, China is coming. All the highs and hellos. Preparing for that happening in your lifetime. I mean, if they're already sending the soldiers across the border, attack is imminent. Donald says, Icon been getting better, getting dad's things in order, been a struggle. Icon says, Donald, I hope the best for you. It'll be easier to move on once you get things cleaned up. My brother, I've been working on stuff so everything is in place before it goes. Good call, less stress that way. Cindy says it pisses me off that ranchers and companies are in bed with China. Well, the ranchers, I wouldn't know. I don't know if I'd say they were in bed. Like, because look, ranching is a tough business. You know, there's just so much working against you. It's hard to make any money. A lot of ranchers are having to hold a regular job just to keep their house. Like, it shouldn't be that way. If you're running a ranch, you should be able to, you know, support your family on that income, but they can't, and so they have to actually hold another job and run the ranch, and that's just ain't right. But that's where they're at, and so you have this Chinese, you know, multimillionaire shows up and says they want to buy your land for way above its value. You just got a reprieve. You just got bailed out, and you're like, how do you turn it down? You know, so I'm not too hard on the ranchers. I mean, I wish they could hold out, but the reality is they've probably been holding out for decades, barely keeping their heads above water, and then this salvation came, and you know, so they have to take it. If someone makes you an offer, you know, when I, you know, talked about my land I sold a couple of years ago, someone offered me way above way above what I paid for it, 6 times what I paid for it, and I, you know, I had to take it. I turned him down at 5 times, and then he came back with 6 times. I was like, shit. Well, I held out as long as I could, but you know, what do you do? What do you do when you're struggling to get by? And you have to do what you have to do. But where's the government in this? Like, if the government's supposed to be protecting the United States, and you know, should it be legal for a non-citizen to buy land in our nation? That's, I guess, a question we should ask. Should it be legal for someone who is not a citizen to own land in the United States? Because if this kind of shit continues on, you know, we could be looking at a situation where there isn't any land available for a citizen to buy if they wanted to, and if they could afford it. And even if there is land available to buy, and even if you got someone who's willing to pay way above the value of the land to get it from someone in China, what are you going to do? You know, you're going to, because you as a citizen here, like, you can't justify paying way above the land's value for it. But these people, that's what they're doing. So they're just cutting everybody off. This all goes back to our government screwing us over on this whole deal, and particularly Biden. Don says, absolutely, Icon. It was very stressful wondering if we would have a home still. Icon says, we were sold out to the Chinese a long time ago. Yep. Southern borders allowing all kinds of bad actors on U.S. soil, says Cindy. Yep. Donald says, but Cindy, Mayorkas says it's all secure. No, it's not secure. Icon says, Donald, I hear it. Been thinking of picking up some more cash work to stay ahead here. Shit's getting expensive. Just paid $123 to fill my 560 from empty. Donald says, at this point, it's good. I don't mind fasting a few times a month. Sure can't afford to eat all month. Yeah. Icon says, I eat less so I don't have to buy cheap, shitty food. Donald says, I'll be pissed if the bearded butchers sell out to China. Somehow I feel like they probably wouldn't sell out to China. Speaking of all this financial stuff, LOCKBEARD channel is in severe economic distress. The bills aren't getting paid. The bills aren't getting paid. So if anybody out there is rich, please, or even not rich, and you want to support the channel, please use the PayPal link. And help me out. Cindy says, yeah, I agree, LOCKBEARD, that we have been sold out. Yeah, our own government sold us out. Cindy says, Donald, I love the bearded butchers. Yeah, I don't think the bearded butchers are going to sell out. All right, so let's look at the cliff jumper. This is the one that Thinker Thunker was analyzing, and we aren't going to really listen to his analysis because I don't think he can really make very accurate measurements. I don't know if you all seen what he does. I don't think he can make very accurate measurements. I mean, it's a nice try, but so let's let me make sure this is big enough. Let me switch the layout here. There we go. Check this out.
All right, that's about all we get.
Shut the hell up, Thinker Thunker.
Maybe this was done by like a sketch. YouTube to Squatch Watchers, give them a subscribe and a like. And this video, they don't just lumped in with a bunch of other videos. All right, that's about all we.
I don't see any jumping going on. I don't see any jumping going on. So hold on, let me show. This is the he makes these measurement bars. Here he's using Michael Phelps as a way to see how he measures certain parts of the body. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think there might be, because when you're looking at something that's far away, like that cliff jumper video, how is he making sure that this bar stops, you know, at the collarbone, like it appears to be doing on Michael Phelps here at the top, and then the red bar starts at the collarbone and goes down to, you know, about the top of Captain Winky down there. So, you know, why is that where the end of the torso is? I don't know. And then anyway, so you can see what he's doing. He's putting together these measurement comparisons because some people tried to claim that Michael Phelps didn't fit Thinker Thunker's measurements of a human, but he's showing here how the Michael Phelps measurements matched up to a human, all humans. And then he shows his measurements from forest giants, Bigfoots, and then the cliff jumper, his measurements matched up pretty well with Bigfoots. But even so, I don't see how he can get a very accurate. There's no way that he's getting an accurate measurement. I just don't see how he's getting accurate measurements here. Let's go back to where he. See, here's where he was applying these bars to the cliff jumper. Which, when I first saw that title, I thought, "Oh, is this Bigfoot going to jump off the cliff into the water?" But that's not what happened. That is not what happened. So I don't know. I see what I see is an inconclusive video. It's inconclusive, so you just can't see anything well enough to know what we're looking at. That could just be a man over there for all I know. Got a new name here. My name goes here. Says, "Come on, man, that's Big Mike before they shaved it down and taught it how to talk." Yeah, could be. Icon says, "Did the math. Last time I drained the tank on that tractor and refilled it, the price of fuel was $1.89. It was $62 to fill the tank, all 33 gallons. Cindy says, "Lockbeard, I had 2 grandkids with birthdays this month and Christmas. They are getting gift cards after getting list. I'm over it." Yeah. Well, gift giving seems like I don't do it. Like, my family's gotten used to, like, they don't give me gifts, I don't give them gifts. Usually what I'll say, like, when it comes to Christmas, like, yeah, it's for the kids. You know, get the kids presents. Kids are asking for presents. But when you're an adult, you know, if I buy you a $50 gift and you buy me a $50 gift, well, maybe we could, you know, and then halftime it might be something I didn't really want, or it's not the right version of it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, it seems kind of ridiculous to me for, you know, for the most part. For some people, it may be okay, little tradition to do, but for me, as someone that tries to be a minimalist, I try not to have too much crap. Like, the more I can just have everything in my van, which I still haven't gotten down to that point. I got a storage building I have to pay for what I have of my belongings that I didn't leave behind, because I left behind a lot of stuff when I sold my property because I just didn't have any place to put it. I fit what I could in a storage building, and that's where I'm at right now. So, and you know, that's a whole thing. You know, the price is going up on that. The price has gone up on everything. Price went up on, you know, I can't remember what I used to pay for my P.O. box, because I get my mail at a P.O. box because I don't have a physical address. Price went up on that. Price on the insurance went up like 30%. So, and the price was already too high anyway. I can't pay it. I ain't got it. Sorry. I ain't got it. So I don't know what to do about that. But yeah, with the gift giving thing, yeah, I just don't even, it's like, you know, forget the gift cards, forget the presents, just with adults. And then with kids, you know, and it's gotten to be too much too. You know, if you think back, you know, way back in the day, you know, there wasn't this huge pile, but nowadays you go in there and there's this massive pile of presents, and just it's just never ending. And the kids got so much crap. You know, what happened to they get one good present and then stuff in their stocking? You know, candy and nuts and all that stuff in their stocking. You know, keep it simple, keep it small. Why has it got to turn into this big extravagant thing that where you spent thousands and thousands of dollars? It's just gotten out of hand. It's just gotten out of hand. Uncle Bone says, my name goes, hello. Difference in price between them and then now $61. Yeah, it's crazy. 2024. Food prices, yeah, food prices have gone up. It's crazy. It's crazy. Down to a few cans of. I gotta go find some more food too. That's a whole ordeal. Gotta go into town, and that's miles away, and too many damn people in the store. I don't want to go in the store. It's stupid. Donald's Wi-Fi is pissing him off. 2024, it's going down, says Cindy. 2x. Donald says, I gotta go back and watch. Haven't seen this before. Haven't seen what before? Are you behind in the video, or are you behind us in the live stream? What I see is just too inconclusive. They're too far away. It's too blurry. You can't tell if it's a Bigfoot or, somebody dressed in all black or somebody that is black. I don't know. You just can't tell what it is. It's human shaped, so. Uncle Bon says, I believe so, Cindy, or we are doomed. Prepare by faith. So here's an account we can probably speculate about, really, but might as well check it out. Let me get it playing here. Audio from Matt Squatch Presents.
This is a sensitive subject. The powers that be, it mainly seems like with Bigfoot, you can talk about Bigfoot, you can research Bigfoot, you can go out and try to get trail camera pictures and cast footprints and have your little conferences and have a cup of coffee and talk about it. But it seems like where people really get in trouble with the subject is when they have really good video, really good foolproof DNA, really good hard evidence that these things exist, not just tales and I saw something run across the road and one time in a field there's 8-foot tall creature walk by. There's a lot going on with this, and the famous Patterson-Gimlin film, the best thing we have so far, evidence that's been released to the public anyway, like you see in the background, 1967, kind of before this was really a big thing and before a lot of people even knew about it. So we're going to talk about some of the reasons why there's a government cover-up and some of the reasons why they want to keep this a secret and not necessarily have it be a recognized species like a bear or a condor or a mountain lion or anything else. And there's some really simple answers and there's also some long answers. We're going to get into it tonight. So one thing that gets thrown around a lot is, it would affect the logging industry. And this is true if Bigfoot was a recognized species, endangered, we didn't know what they were, and researchers were out there, and habitat protections. I mean, if you've seen what they do for like frogs and little fish and things like that, you imagine what they would do for an upright walking creature like a Bigfoot. So a lot of people say like the logging industry and some of the timber industries and things like that would be really hurt, and growing industries, and also like mining, because those often operate back in the hills and the mountains. Where you have mountains, you have exposure to minerals, and where you have mountains, you also have lots of trees and habitat for wildlife. So not to darn mines in the desert, not to darn Bigfoots in the desert. I think these are just two reasons that I hear get thrown around a lot, is very mundane reasons, is the mining industry and the logging industry and other things that take place outside, different things like in public lands for raising cattle and letting them graze and wander. A lot of that would stop, I'm sure. And the other thing I also hear a lot is the tourist industry. There's millions of people visit our national parks and national forests every year, and our national monuments and BLM and public lands and state parks. And this is also another reason why they say they don't want this truth to get out. And there's a lot more to that. We'll get to that in a minute. And when you start looking into the Bigfoot mystery, you start to realize, like we've talked about on this channel, that there seems to be different varieties or different looks to them, or different regional styles, if you will. If they're subspecies or offshoots of the same species, or if they just look different. you know, there's still a lot to be determined, but we know people are reporting different looking ones with radically different behaviors. Some are very aggressive and appear to be completely carnivorous, and you don't want to mess with them, like the equivalent of like a polar bear or like a tiger, an alpha predator, something you don't want to mess with. And other things are a little less harmless. And I think it's some more of these aggressive types that are really the problem for the government. I also think some of your standard looking more patty types, like type 1s we've discussed on this channel, and type 2s, the wood boogers, the type 1s and type 2s being like 80% of what people see. They can be aggressive. The Native American cultures talk to them about them a lot, but there's more of the...
Yeah, you hear how this guy talks about type 1 and type 2 and all this nonsense. The differences in descriptions, people shouldn't jump onto this whole idea that we now know there's these different types, blah blah blah, because people are describing them differently. You know, somebody heard someone describe a booger, and then they make up a story that they saw a booger and describe it that way too, or maybe they did see a Bigfoot, but because their mind has been implanted with this certain way of describing them, they will describe it the same way. And then someone that saw a skunk ape, you know, which would just be another Bigfoot probably, and heard it described in certain ways, there was probably going to tell basically the same description. Maybe people in the same region will just have the same way of looking at things and perceiving things and describe them the same way. So to take it as if it's just some strong scientific evidence that there's these different types, rather than different people have different ways of explaining things, and some people can't explain shit. They can't. They don't know what they're looking at in the woods. If they're in the woods, you know, half the time they're people that never seen certain things. Like, I've never personally seen a black bear. They're around here, and I've looked at a lot of video of black bear. I spent a lot of time in the woods. Never come across a black bear. But because I'm someone who, you know, has observed nature a lot, you know, I most of the sciences I studied in college, the 11 years that I was at the university, involved, you know, making observations of stuff and of wild life, animal, plant, fungi, microbe, the whole shebang. My interest was very broad, and your average person doesn't have that eye. And so, you know, as an example, like I have a friend who we used to ride together to work and stuff a lot, and driving down the road, I'll notice things like, you know, isn't that an interesting you know, tree of some kind? And, you know, it might be Quercus ruba, you know, it might be some other species. I mean, that's a red oak. Like, you know, I'd studied a lot of botany, so, you know, and I was really interested in trees. So, you know, I'd spot a tree that was interesting. It had an unusual growth pattern. It was exceptionally large, and and a lot of times, like going down the road, I'll see a tree, and I'll be like, look, they need to remove that tree or trim that tree back because it's going to fall. It's going to fall, and then that prediction would come true. Sometimes very quickly. Like there was one that and we'd been in this town for years, and I was looking at that tree, and it grew, leaned out over the road, and it had been there for years, and for whatever reason, that day I said, that tree's going to fall. A week later, that tree fell. I'm not saying I'm perfect with this power, but you know, it's just my thing. Him, that stuff's all invisible. That stuff's all invisible. What he notices is cars. Any kind of car, like he knows cars. You know, I can see a 1,000 different old time classic cars, and I can't tell you the name of any of them. I can't tell, you know, I don't know what they are. He knows them all. The slightest little difference, he can tell you. He can tell you a bunch of shit about it. Like, that's the shit he notices, because that's his world. That's what his world is interested in. He has no interest in fucking trees. But I do, and I have an interest in animals and plants and fungi and all this stuff. So even though I haven't ever laid eyes on a black bear, if I'm out in the woods and I see a black bear, I'm not gonna make the mistake of it's a dog, or it's a dog man, or it's a Bigfoot. It's just not something that a mistake that I can make, I don't think. But average people who have no interest in such things would. Okay, like just like I can't tell any of those classic cars. I don't know what the fuck they are. You know, I've seen them here and there. You know, they're neat looking when I see them, but immediately it gets file 13. It gets that I don't remember. Like, someone can tell me, well, this is a 57 Chevy, blah blah blah, and they say some numbers and letters that I have no idea what they really mean. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a car guy. I like cool cars, but I don't know them. And so, you know, so he might ask me, well, what is this car you saw? If I was to go tell him, say, hey, I saw this cool car today, and he'd say, well, describe it. I would not be able to describe it properly to him at all. It wouldn't happen. Yeah, I could try, but I'm not. There's no way I'm going to be able to describe to him this car with English words so that he could understand what I had seen. And that's most people in the woods. Most people. And even some woodsmen would have a hard time, you know, like a lot of woodsmen, they don't know even the animals that are well known, right? An example is this guy I knew, he was a lifelong hunter, and he liked to make, you know, he made an issue of that. I've been in the woods and I'm a lifelong hunter and blah, 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 blah. And he swore him down. There was a snake. The head was missing, and the snake could be squished flat, and it was a baby. And he swore him down that this snake was a copperhead. Well, I knew very well this was not a copperhead. It was clear as day it wasn't a copperhead. It was a Great Plains rat snake. I know my snakes. And he can say I'm in the woods all I want, and I hear people say that shit all the time. I've been in the woods my whole life, and I know what the fuck I saw. Well, look, for most of these people, I've been in the woods my whole life don't mean dick. They don't actually know what the hell they're looking at. This guy was swearing up and down to me that was a copperhead smashed on that concrete. And I wish I'd taken a picture of it so I could show people. Say, look, this snake here, even if you don't know snakes, if you go make a comparison with some photographs, you might be able to properly identify it yourself by making the comparisons. But I've held in these hands, because I don't typically kill snakes, right? I've held in these hands many Great Plains rat snakes and many copperheads. Probably more copperheads than Great Plains rat snakes, actually. And I've held and studied a lot of herpetology, the study of reptiles and amphibians. So when he's saying, when this guy in this video here is saying, is making this, oh, there's these type 1s and these type 2s and blah, blah, blah. And he's making a lot of assumptions that the descriptions that these people are giving him are accurate enough to be able to determine all this nonsense. And I guarantee you they're not. I guarantee you they're not. These people are not able, they're just not. They can't be. So many, and some of the wacky shit that people say. And I would wonder, you know, is he including those encounters where people claim that there was mind speak, portals, and cloaking? If he's including that, I mean, you really, really, really got to filter out the crap. And even then, you're not going to have any good information until you have an actual body on the slab, because when you're dealing with eyewitnesses, a lot of times they're what they describe, what they perceive, just doesn't turn out to be exactly what was there. You know, people see if you grew hair all over your body and changed nothing else, and you went running around in the woods, a lot of people would say, "Oh, it was an ape. It was an ape man. It looked like a gorilla on 2 legs." Well, you don't look anything like a gorilla. You don't look anything like a gorilla. All that's changed is you have hair. But a lot of people, that's all they see is the hair, and it's some kind of primate. They know it's some kind of ape, and humans are a primate. So that's all they see. And they'll describe it as a gorilla. Now, to me, when you describe something as a gorilla, it needs to have the morphological characteristics of a gorilla, or you didn't describe it properly. And I seriously doubt Sasquatch has anything to do with a damn gorilla. So, some people will say some individuals look like chimpanzees and stuff like that. That's all, you know, within the realm of human differentiation. Sure, I guess you could say some people might resemble some of the other great apes to some extent, but we got to be careful with that one, right? You start talking about sloping forehead. Well, my chemistry teacher, I had a chemistry teacher in high school. I had a 45-degree slant on that son of a bitch. I'm probably exaggerating that slightly, but he had a really slanted forehead. And, you know, we've been told that that's a primitive thing, right? And that's something of the past. That's a Neanderthal. But right there in front of my eyes was a human with that morphological characteristic. How do you explain that, motherfuckers? Well, apparently it's not a primitive characteristic at all. This guy was a chemistry teacher. You can't be a moron and teach chemistry. And as it turns out, Neanderthals had larger brains than us and were probably very smart, equivalent in intelligence to us, possibly could have achieved civilization if the right circumstances existed to lead there, right? Because, you know, so you can be extremely intelligent, and, you know, because there's a lot of humans today that exist and they live in Stone Age conditions. So there's more than just what's your intellectual possibilities, what you could accomplish. There's other factors involved. It isn't that those people are too stupid to form a civilization. It's just that certain driving factors aren't there to make them do it. Like, things are just working. They're living just fine. There's no reason to push for it, whatever. And I think now we're starting to learn that civilization has its negative consequences on us psychologically and physically. And we might want to rethink the way we do things to prevent some of the negative consequences. But yeah, let's go on with this video. Well, let me Let me check in with the chat. Because the chat has been kicking it. Cindy says Lockbeard this year is special because they're at home. They're home. They are home. Last year they were being held by their dad. My daughter has full custody. So yeah, I know it has to be on a smaller level. Donald says, I hope Trump has extra security to keep the Dems assassination attempts at bay. I bet it will be attempted. They have gone pretty far to try and stop him from running. Uncle Bone says, Donald, I seen him last night in South Dakota. He had plenty of security. Donald says, but it is getting protection from the Secret Service, Uncle Bone. Is he getting protection? Yeah, I mean, yeah, they have to protect him, but again, because it isn't like, you know, with RFK Jr. trying to get Secret Service protection. They're trying to deny it. I don't know if they still denied it, but Donald Trump already had guaranteed Secret Service protection for the rest of his life because of his first term as president. So now whether they do a good job of it, whether they are that corrupt, I don't know. Time to harvest some nuisance deer, Lockbeard, says Donald. Cindy says the descriptions make it hard to distinguish. Yeah, you just can't trust the descriptions. You know, even if the person seems really like a really solid witness and they aren't talking about all the woo crap, you still gotta be, you still can't like treat the description they give as absolute fact. Unless it was someone with adequate scientific training, you know, species differentiation, like, you know, when studying botany, you know, you're not just, I mean, a lot of plants you can identify pretty easily just with the eye. Sometimes you got to use a magnifying glass, and you know, that, you know, training on that level of species identification, most people, they don't know. They just know bare minimum, and that's it. That no scientific training. It's hard for me to accept that people without that level of scientific training can give a really good, proper description of what they saw. A few people might be able to, but you just can't trust the descriptions 100%. They're an indicator. That's great, but don't, this guy in this video that we're seeing, I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing or not. This guy is talking about type 1 and type 2 and all this stuff. Slow your roll, buddy. Before you start trying to divide the Sasquatch species into separate subspecies, you first have to prove that the Sasquatch exists and have, you know, some physical evidence of it to show well, to show that it's to show that it's what species it is. Again, I think it's going to prove once we have real Sasquatch DNA, I think we will prove that it is probably strongly probable that it is Homo sapiens and it's just a separate race of people. Maybe you can call it a subspecies, but not a separate species. I do not think. I could be wrong. It could be differentiated enough to be a separate species, but I really doubt it, because anthropology's made this mistake themselves with the fossil record of our ancestors, you know, where they still call Homo erectus and Homo ergaster these two separate things that they're not. just because one's in Africa, one's outside of Africa. Neanderthal, they call Homo neanderthalensis. That's a species differentiation. It's not a separate species. It got blended into us. Therefore, they were the same species as us. Therefore, the proper term for the Neanderthal people is Homo sapiens, subspecies Neanderthalensis. That would be proper. and all of anthropology has not been able to get on board with that, even though we got the evidence is very clear that that's what the situation is. They're a failure. You know, we still got things like Homo heidelbergensis. Well, prove that it's a separate species. I guarantee you it's not. If we get some actual DNA, or maybe they clone one and say, let's see if it can breed. Yeah, I believe it'll be able to breed just fine with humans today, not just humans from that time. Are they different looking than us today? Yeah, because the species changes over time. But I don't think that we've differentiated enough from that time to be a separate species today. So if a Homo heidelbergensis jumped through a time warp and landed in today, I think they would be able to breed with us just fine. And they overlapped with all these different ones. And they're trying to say, oh, these are all different species, all these different pre-human. Humans were moving around too much. You're talking about a species that was smart enough to jump from continent to continent just fine, and they moved around too much. So the genes are always mixing. And if the genes are always mixing, you don't have speciation. It can't happen because the genes stay mixed. You need geographic isolation or some other form of isolation. But typically it's geographic, where somehow half your species is over here and the other half is over there, and boom. Someone brought up bonobos the other day. Bonobos are being treated as if they're a separate species, and yet when you put a bonobo with another chimp, with a regular chimp, in captivity, guess what? They can make babies. So they're not separate species. Subspecies, yeah, but they are the same species. See, we need a term to describe a population of creatures that can breed with each other in a normal fashion, right? And that's what species is. And a lot of people try to make that fuzzy because they for whatever reason they don't like something being called a species, and so I end up with these arguments with people, and I'm like, well, okay, let's say we listened to you and we changed it. So we still have to have a term for a population of creatures that can interbreed with each other, and nothing else. That's a thing. That's a one unit of creatures, and we have to have a term for it. And right now, that fucking term is species. So shut the fuck up. That's what the definition says, for fuck's sake. But these people will still argue about this. I don't get it. They don't like it when you say certain things are a species or certain things are not the same species. And they will try to argue complete illogical nonsense that goes against the very definitions of these words to try and make themselves right. Donald says, yeah, you locked up while you were playing that. I've never seen it before. I guess you talk about the cliff jumper video, maybe. Cindy Finn says, I've been craving a Corona and lime. Donald says, never was a beer drinker. Bacardi 151 was my poison. Yeah, I used to shoot that. Start the night off with a shot of that and Long Island iced teas. But I haven't touched any alcohol for years, so I'm done. Just feels like it makes me sick now. Corona and vodka for Cindy. Donald says, I think Jevning and his government MIB narrative started these four types. Thin Bear and Coonbo jumped on that bandwagon. Oh, Cindy Finn's checking out. See you later, Cindy. Don says, I got a black bear and 2 cubs the neighbor got pics of across the street. That gives more shorts tomorrow. Icon says, have a good night, Cindy. Uncle Bone says, Lockbeard, Trump has Secret Service and military protection. He will see election. Oh, yeah. We are still in an emergency situation. Don says, Uncle Bones, but with corruption going on, who's signing their checks? Yeah. Yeah, it's worrisome, you know. Is the Secret Service couldn't find who brought the cocaine into the White House, right? There's got to be some corruption there. You mean to tell me you don't know exactly what comes in and out of the White House? If I was president, I'd be firing some motherfuckers. Like, how do you not know? How did someone bring cocaine into the White House and you assholes don't know? It's a cover-up. The Secret Service is in on it. So they're corrupted. Uncle Bone says, Donald, sad you think so little of good peeps. So let's look at some more of this, I guess.
These Wendigo species and the Gugwe type species that can be very aggressive. And then you get into more like the woodbugger types like we're talking about, maybe not necessarily looking as humans as food, but easily excitable, much like chimpanzees and other apes, and very territorial, can cause a lot of havoc, can chase people out, just be aggressive to be aggressive, maybe not necessarily towards food. And then when you get into Bigfoot, you start wandering into other things like dogmen that people are seeing and other strange creatures across the U.S. And I think one of the reasons for covering it up is once you let the Bigfoot out of the bag, so to speak, a lot of other creatures start to come to life, and it's kind of the tip of the iceberg. But I think the main reason why the government's covering it up has to do a lot with missing 411. Not that if you've studied the missing 411 mysteries, I don't think it's Bigfoot killing everybody. I don't think it's them, but I do think a certain number of them who go missing in a certain number of places, I think Bigfoot could be a culprit. We've discussed this on this channel before, and they might be part of the mystery. Now, there's really out there stuff that Bigfoot's extra dimensional, or they can do a lot of other stuff, and I don't necessarily know about that, but I think when you open the door for Bigfoot, you open the door for a lot of other things that are out in the woods and a lot of other things that happen to people. And I think that's one of the main reasons why there's a government cover-up, because I think certain varieties, certain times of year, like we've talked about, do take people, and they do take them for a food source. And our federal government knows that if they disclose that these creatures are out there and are everywhere and are being seen, it would be massive chaos. And I think it really would hurt not just tourists and farming and mining and logging operations, but I think our whole paradigm of what exists and what's out there. I think if you look at our national park system and you look at the missing 411 cases, most of the missing 411 cases happen in national parks, and then you look at spots across the United States where you have a lot of Bigfoot sightings, and they all seem to all seem to coincide. And like I said, I think there's a large number of missing 411 things that I don't think are Bigfoot, but I think it's very much opening the door to a lot of other unexplained things that our government doesn't want to get into. And if you've been into this mystery long enough, you start to hear stories about problem Bigfoots on the edge of towns or near campgrounds where they have to send in special forces, military, very top secret stuff, some of the best hunters of people in the world to go hunt these things down, especially ones that go rogue or get aggressive around people. And then you also get into where there's Bigfoot men in black, so to speak. They don't look like your typical men in black, but they have kind of the same job. They basically show up and say, you saw a bear, don't talk about it, bad things will happen. Your family, your business, your life, everything will be ruined if you don't shut up about this. One's portrayed more as like a biker, and one's portrayed more as like a businessman, like good cop, bad cop. And it seems that all over the United States, a different variety of these things is absolutely shocking. Some of them appear to be an overgrown chimpanzee. Other ones, like the famous Mayaka skunk apes. If you do the scaling on this, it looks like a giant overgrown orangutan. And some of these are very almost friendly and curious, like you would expect to see any other kind of ape-like creature, and some are very aggressive. And like any wild animal, you don't know what their dispositions can be, how they can be around people. And then you get into a lot of other stuff that maybe there's some genetic engineering for some of these types, but that's getting really deep down the rabbit hole. But if we just step back a minute and look at a lot of the Native American traditions of Bigfoot and mountain giants and wood boogers, a lot of Native American tribes all over the place have a deep history of these things. A lot of them don't have anything good to say, or it's neutral of they stay on that side of the canyon, we stay on this side of the canyon, or they're on that side of the river. We hunt at night, or they hunt at night and we hunt during the day. If you stay out at night, the hairy man will carry you away, or carry your women off and make wives of them, or carry your children off and eat them. Or you have more traditions of them being a little more friendly and trading with them. And you also have traditions of them even teaming up together to defeat other cryptid species and other strange creatures and things that have been known to exist. So you can't ignore the history, the thousands of years that the Native Americans have been here before us. And they all tell you kind of the same thing, that they're a creature that should be respected, but you want to keep your distance and stay away from them. They're not something to go out and be harassed or trifled with. You keep their distance. And I think that's part of the thing. The government knows that these things are potentially dangerous, just like any other animal, just like any other wild tribe of people would be if you think they're people. Whenever they make contact with some lost Amazon tribe or the Sentinelese Islands, that's a very interesting story. Whenever these outside groups are met with modern humans, they're typically very aggressive. And Bigfoot in certain situations with young around or hard times a year with food, I think is a lot of the same. And I think this is the core reason that the government doesn't want you to know, is that they really, when it comes down to it, is occasionally they take people. They can be dangerous. And I think a lot of people have been taken by these creatures. A lot of the missing people stories out there, I think, are a result of Bigfoot. Now, that's not to say they're all bad. I also think it kind of opens Pandora's box for the government as far as, Dogman and aliens and a lot of other really weird out there stuff that goes beyond Bigfoot. And it really makes sense in a lot of ways for the government to cover this up and not to come out with it on many levels, from a very practical level all the way on up. And I know this is kind of a shorter video. We could talk for hours about this subject, but there's a lot going on here. And I just wanted to give you guys kind of a quick rundown. Maybe there's some points you haven't heard of, or maybe some new things, or for all the new people, this is kind of just a guide to some of the basics of why the government would cover it up. And when you kind of put it in that aspect of, if you believe in Bigfoot, they exist, maybe you had an encounter, and then you start adding up the native traditions, you start adding up the missing people, you start adding up other strange creatures, and then all the industry and tourist industries and everything else, hunting, all the things that, millions and billions of dollars a year that get spent all going through there, and just the sheer liability of people going out in the woods with these things, you start to realize, well, maybe that's why the government wouldn't be so quick to acknowledge these creatures. And that's pretty much my 2 cents on it. Stay safe in the woods, folks. Thank you very much for watching tonight.
He said a few things in there that seemed pretty sensible, but some of it not so much. Donald said, or Uncle Bone says, Donald Trump's security volunteer and Biden's are ordered. Well, we need to wrap her up. Thank you all for hanging out. I know I haven't been doing random lives this week. I've been busy and very tired at the end of the day, and so that's why. So I don't know what the next week's going to hold, but share the channel out, and I don't know. Hopefully, we'll be live streaming on YouTube again eventually, because it's hard. A lot of people won't come to Rumble, but a few are starting. They're starting to come. It's just Rumble's got to really fix a lot of stuff. Make it work like YouTube, make it work as well as YouTube, so on and so forth. So yeah. Check the chat one more time. Icon says, you're done already? Boo. Well, over 2 hours. We're 2 hours in now. 2 hours in. Don says, you building someone, Locky? What? Building someone? Yeah. Burning off some land, running out the Bigfoots. But yeah, gotta go. Thank you all for hanging out, and please support the channel. Like I said, the bills are not getting paid. Used to have a couple of really, pretty big donors for the channel in the earlier days, and they've disappeared. Like I tried reaching out to them too and figure out what happened to them, and it's like they completely disappeared. Where from the YouTube world. So I don't know what happened there. And so it's gotten really hard. Like you see the StreamYard icon up there now, and I can't do backgrounds. So you see, it's just a black background back here. Like that's all advanced features where you make the duck go away, and you make custom backgrounds and stuff like that. That's all advanced features you have to pay for. I can't pay for it anymore. So yeah, anybody who can help the channel, please. We need it. PayPal links in the description. Icon says, "Try not to be a stranger." Donald says, "Night, everyone." Icon says, "Later, everyone." Uncle Bones says, "Thanks, Lockbeard. Good night, Donald." Donald says, "I will get better. It will get better once I get finances in shape." Night, Uncle Bones. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out, and see you next time.